Hi guys, today you should be working on your mixed review of section 3.1 to 3.4. I realized belatedly that I forgot to put something in for section 3.2. So if you flip the page, hopefully you've done the practice problems already. We're going to do something called cycles of I. Okay? This will be a pretty short video. So just please remember that I equals square root of -1. And I squared, if you take -1, square root of -1 times square root of -1, that's going to be -1. So please remember these two things on the test. They're going to be crucial to help you simplify things. So let's take a moment and see what we've got. So I is the square root of -1. Now we don't actually want to write the square root of -1. So for I, there's no way to simplify it. We just have I. When we have I squared, that's going to be -1. Okay, hopefully you remember that. Now, if I take -1 and I add another I to it, right? This is the same as like I squared times I. Then we have -1 I. Okay. Now, if we take that a little bit further, I to the fourth is I squared times I squared, right? So that's -1 times -1, which is +1. So I'll write that here, -1 times -1. So what you can do is remember that I squared equals to -1. I to the fourth, right, is therefore +1. And anything in between you can then simplify however much you need. So I to the fifth is really I to the fourth, right, times 1. And so that's going to be 1 times I, which is 1I. Do you see how now it starts to cycle? Because I squared is I to the fourth times I squared. Sorry, I to the sixth is I to the fourth times I squared. So now we have 1, right, which is not important. And then this is just I squared, which is -1. And so if you break things down into multiples of 4, right, these cancel. This is basically canceled out. Then all you need to remember are I squared, I cubed, and I to the fourth power, right? These are the only 4 that you need to know. And I want to break down my exponent into groups of 4. So 10 is, let's see, I to the fourth times 2, right? So, and then I squared. Let me just maybe write that as I to the 8th. Hopefully you can recognize that, I to the 8th. Okay. So that means I have, this is nothing, right? Multiples of 4, and then I have I squared, which is -1. I to the 20th is I to the 4 times 5, right? So this is all gone. So it's just 1. I to the 21 is I to the 4 times 5, which is gone, but you need 1 more. See if you can try the last 3 real quick, okay? So I to the 42, 55, 66. Remember, you're looking for like groups of 4 first. I guess I do like the 4 times 2 here instead of 8. Okay. So figure out what can we divide perfectly. 42 divided by 4 is 40, right? That goes in well. So I to the 4 times 10. So that's 40, and then I have 2 more. So that's just 1, 10 times. And this will be -1. 55. Ooh, I don't know this one perfectly. Let's see. 54. Now, how do I know 54 divides perfectly by 4? No, it doesn't. 56 divides 52. Oh, I know. You guys can try it on your calculator and see, right? So 55 divided by 4. So it goes in 1 time. That's 4, and then 1, 5. So then that goes in 3 times? Yeah. So it'll be I to the 4 times 13, which is 52. And then look, there's a remainder of 3. That remainder is what you have here. You guys see that? Okay. So that's gone, that's all perfect. I to the third power is I squared, which is -1 times I. 66, I just don't know my 4s perfectly well. I think it's 64, works perfectly. Yeah, 64 is 4 times 16. Okay, so that's I to the 4 times 16, but then I have 2 more, so that's -1. That concludes our lesson for today. What I would do is, if you're having trouble, just maybe cover these up, try it again, see if you can figure out. Basically, you're trying to figure out the multiple of 4 becomes 1, and how many left are there? And there should really be 1, 2, or 3 left only, right, if you divide correctly. These are your remainders. So you only have 4 possible answers for these problems, and that is in these 4 boxes. Okay, I'll cover this more when I come back. I'm sorry I can't be here today. I don't think I'm putting this on your quiz, but it will be on your test. So I just wanted to cover it before I forgot.